Hi everyone, today I'll be sharing with you how to make salted butter corn shokupan. First, we need to prepare the ingredients. Start by making the corn fillings. Pour 1 cup of water into a pot or a frying pan. Place a sheet of aluminum foil or parchment paper on top of the water and place the corn over it. Lightly wrap the foil around the corn to keep water out. Turn on the heat and once the water starts boiling, cover with a lid and steam over low to medium heat for about 3 minutes. Flip the corn and cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. Adjust the heat as needed to keep it gently boiling. If the heat is too high, the water may evaporate completely, so keep an eye on it. Once cooked, let the corn cool, then use a spoon handle to dig out the corn kernels. After separating a few rows of corn, use your thumb to separate the corn kernels. If you're using canned corn instead, drain the liquid well and pat the corn dry thoroughly with paper towels. Next, cut 60 grams of salted butter into long, thin strips. We'll use them later when shaping the dough, so keep them in the fridge. Also, bring the unsalted butter for the dough to room temperature before adding it. Lastly, prepare the liquid ingredients at the right temperature. Our target dough temperature after kneading is 26 to 28 degrees. Right now it's summer in Japan, and my kitchen is already around 27 degrees, so I'll add 1 or 2 ice cubes today. Add cold milk and egg yolk to the water. Egg yolk helps mix butter and water well, like an emulsifier. The dough becomes soft and stretchy, and it rises a lot in the oven. You'll be surprised. In winter, when your kitchen is cold, gently warm the liquid before using. Controlling the dough temperature helps the yeast work efficiently and makes the fermentation time more predictable. For detailed tips on how to adjust liquid temperature, please check the description box below. Stir the liquid well. This time, the temperature was 6 degrees. Now that everything is ready, let's start mixing. Add the bread flour into the bowl of your stand mixer. I recommend to use flour with 12 to 13% protein content to get that soft, fluffy texture. Add the sugar. I use cane sugar, but you can also use granulated sugar. Add the salt. Then add the instant dry yeast. Mix the dry ingredients together using a spatula so that they absorb liquid evenly. Now pour the liquid in the dried ingredients. Gently stir everything together. At this point, it's okay if you still see some dry spots. This step helps the all ingredients combine together quickly. Attach the dough hook and start kneading on low speed. If you're using a KitchenAid, that's speed too. Once the dough starts to come together, increase to medium speed and knead for about 10 minutes. Medium speed on a KitchenAid is speed 4. In the beginning, the dough might stick to the bottom of the bowl. That's completely normal. Try not to add extra flour unless the dough looks too loose. As the gluten forms, the dough will come together naturally. After about 10 minutes, it should feel stretchy and more elastic. Then we'll add the softened butter. When we make a fluffy bread, we usually add butter after the gluten has started forming, because fat can interfere with yeast activity and structure building. Continue kneading on medium speed for another 12 to 15 minutes until the dough becomes smoother and elastic. The dough will feel sticky again right after adding butter, but don't worry. Keep kneading and it will gradually become strong and smooth. Now it's been 13 minutes and the dough looks already smooth. Let's check the gluten with the window pane test. Take a small piece and stretch it gently. If it forms a thin, see-through sheet without tearing, it's ready. If not, knead a little longer and try again. Next, we'll strengthen the dough using the slam and fold method. Lift the dough from the side, slam it gently onto the surface, and fold it over. This movement helps develop a strong gluten network, which is key to a nice fluffy texture. Avoid grabbing the dough with your thumbs, as this can tear or damage the dough. Instead, support the dough using the base of your thumbs. The purpose of this method isn't just to slam the dough down. As you drop the dough, gently pull the dough towards yourself to stretch it before folding it over. This motion encourages strong gluten development, which helps the dough hold gas more effectively during fermentation. Repeat this motion 20 times. Now mix the corn into the dough. Stretch the dough by hand and scatter the corn evenly over the surface. Then gently roll up the dough, pulling slightly as you go. Place the rolled dough back into the bowl and knead it on low speed for 1 to 2 minutes to help distribute the corn evenly. Once the corn is well incorporated, take the dough out onto your work surface. Fold the dough a few times to help the corn get inside. Then shape it into a smooth round ball by tucking the sides underneath as you round it. Before proofing, check the dough temperature. It should be around 26 to 28 degrees. If it's lower, the dough rises more slowly. If it's higher, it rises faster. Place the dough seam side down in a bowl. Cover with a damp towel and let it rise in warm place until more than doubled in size. Depending on your dough temperature and environment, this usually takes about 40 to 60 minutes. Now the dough has expanded. It's more than doubled in size. My dough temperature was at 29 degrees and I left it rise in a 30 degrees proofer. Then this time it took about 50 minutes. Let's do the finger test to see if the dough has proofed correctly. Dust lightly with flour and poke the dough with a finger. If the dent stays and there are small bubbles on the surface, it's good to go. If it springs back, give it 5 to 10 more minutes proofing and test again. Let's move on to pre-shaping. Sprinkle a little flour on top and press gently to release gas. Turn the dough onto your work surface, keeping the smooth side facing up. From now on, always keep that smooth surface on top during shaping. This helps trap gas and gives you a clean finish after baking. First, measure the total amount of dough. Shape the dough into an oval, then divide it into 2 equal parts. This way, it's easier to shape into balls with the smooth surface outside. Round each into a tight ball by folding and tucking the edges underneath. Make sure the top surface of the dough stays on the outside when shaping. This resting time helps relax the gluten for easier shaping. Let them rest for 15 to 20 minutes. covering with a damp towel to prevent them from drying out. While they rest, prepare parchment paper to line the loaf pan. Now that the dough has slightly puffed up, it's time for shaping. We'll work on both doughs together in order to avoid differences in fermentation. First, sprinkle some flour on top and place gently to degas. Flip the dough over to place the dough smooth side down. Again, apply some flour and roll it out into a rectangle using a rolling pin. Make sure the width of the dough is shorter than the width of your loaf pan. Take the butter out of the fridge and place 3 stripes in a horizontal line. Each stripe of butter is around 6 grams. Fold the top and bottom edges toward the center, overlapping slightly. Apply some flour on the work surface and rotate the dough 90 degrees. Lightly flatten the dough with a rolling pin. Be careful not to make the dough wider than the pan. Rotate the dough again, then place 2 more stripes of butter in a line. Roll it up from the top, making sure to tighten the surface as you go. Seal the seam tightly after rolling. Place both shaped dough together seam side down on parchment paper, then put them into your loaf pan. Sprinkle some water over the pan and cover with a plastic wrap or shower cap. Then let it rise in a warm place at about 30 degrees until it fills the pan. Preheat your oven to 210 degrees during the final proof. Now the dough has risen nicely. This is how we check if the proofing is right. When you poke the dough with your floured finger, it should spring back slowly and the dent stays a little. Right before baking, apply the egg wash. I use a 1:1 ratio of water and whole egg. Bake at 190 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. If you think the top might burn, you can cover it with aluminum foil or reduce the temperature to 180 degrees about 10 minutes before the end of baking. After baking, gently tap the pan to release steam. Brush the remaining butter from the pan onto the loaf, then let it cool completely on a wire rack. To slice neatly, lay it on each side and cut from the bottom corner as the base is firmer and easier to cut through. This gives you neat, beautiful slices. I use electric knife to slice as this loaf is really soft. This bread is soft and savory with pockets of melted butter and sweet corn in every bite. Perfect on its own or served as toast with extra butter. Thank you for watching. I hope you try this salted butter corn shokupan at home. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other Japanese bread recipes and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time and happy baking!